Hello, my name's Christopher, and today I'm going to show you how to install Speedtest Tracker from LinuxServer, the image that just got published on Dockge. So a little bit about this series, I'm going over home labs, installing things, getting things set up, everything like that. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel, and let's get started. I wanted to let y'all know about the Big Bear community. We just launched a community on community.bigbeartechworld.com. It's based on discourse, so go on there, join it, and say hi. So let's get back to your registered programming. So this is what I'll be installing today. LinuxServer came out with a LinuxServer Speedtest Tracker. I did do a video on how to install Speedtest Tracker on Dockge before, but I wanted to do an updated video for the LinuxServer version. I'm going to be going over the Docker Compose and things like that. Speedtest Tracker makes it to where you can run speed test on your internet on a scheduled basis. It uses the Ookla network. So that's what we'll be installing today. So I'm going to start on Big Bear Video Assets. There will be a link down in the YouTube description to get to this. And I'm going to go to the search box over here. I'm going to type Speedtest Tracker, just speed test. And then now you'll see how to install LinuxServer Speedtest Tracker on Dockge. So now I'm going to go in the Docker Compose. So version 3 of Docker Compose file format is being used. I'm going to set some services, and then the first service underneath the services is called Big Bear Speedtest Tracker. And then this is the service name, and the container name makes it to where you can get a good name on it, so you'll be able to look at the container that this one's running. Because if it didn't have container name, it would just generate a random Docker name, a Docker container name that you wouldn't know what it is. And then the image is coming off of Docker Hub, and it's LinuxServer Speedtest Tracker. And then 0164 is the Docker image tag. Now, since this doesn't have a URL before this, it is defaulting for coming off of Docker Hub. And then the ports are 8080 on the host side. If this does collide with another port on your host, you can change it. And then on the container side is 80. So down here is 8443. This is on the host side, and same with it. If it does collide with another port on your host, you can change it. And then on the container side is 443. Environment variables. So the user ID and the group ID are for file permissions. And then the DB connection, the DB host, the DB port, the DB database. This is the database name. And then the username, the password, and then the time zone. I would set this to your own time zone. And what this is doing is it's connecting to the database down here. So what this does is it connects the database, then stores the data inside of this service right here, the DB. And so now volumes, so etc local time is on the host, and then on the right side is etc local time, and it's read only. And Speedtest Tracker config is on the host. This is a local volume that's defined down the bottom. And then on the container side is config. Speedtest Tracker web is on the host side, and it's defined down the bottom as well. And then on the container side is etc SSL web. Restart unless stopped. So that means that it'll restart no matter what, unless it's stopped by you. And then networks, so a Big Bear Speedtest Tracker network. That's a network that's defined down the bottom, and it's a bridge network. And now this service right here depends on the Big Bear Speedtest Tracker, a DB service right here. So now we're going to go down to the service, a DB down here, and that's below the services. So the container names, so that you can have a good name for when you're calling on the CLI or looking at the container. It just makes it to where it doesn't have to generate a random name. And then the image is coming off of Docker by default, and then it's MariaDB, and then the Docker image tag is 10. Restart always means that no matter what you do, it'll always restart. The environment variables are set down here for the credentials to get to this database. So these credentials should align with these credentials up here. And I would recommend changing the password or the user. So you can do that before you install. But make sure you change these credentials up here so it can connect to the database. And then I'm going to set this service in a network, the bridge network that's defined down here. And then the volumes are Speedtest Tracker DB. That's a local volume that's defined down the bottom. And then var lib MySQL is on the container side. Do not change the container side. And then define the network configuration. So we're going to define the network that we're using in each one of these services. It's going to be a bridge network. And then we're going to define the volumes right here. So it's going to be a local volume. And then now I'm going to go up here to copy raw file, and I'm going to click it. Then I'm going to go over to my Dockge and get it set up installed. So I wanted to let you know about the Big Bear Club. You can join it, and it greatly supports this channel, and I very much appreciate it. So if you'd like to join the Big Bear Club, you can go down the YouTube description and go to my Ko-Fi link and join it from there. So let's get back to registered programming. So now I'm going to start on my Dockge. I'm going to go to Compose and then stack name. I'm going to put my stack name as Speedtest Tracker stack. And then now I'm going to go over to the editor over here. I'm going to paste in the Docker and Compose that I explained over in Big Bear Video Assets. Once you do that, you're going to come up here, Actions up here, and say Deploy. So I'm going to click it. So what this is doing is it's downloading the Docker image off the registry, getting extracted, and getting it up with Docker Compose underneath, because this does use the Docker engine. So, and it's also setting up the volumes and the network. So this can take a bit. So now we got it up and running, and it's ready to go. So we got it up and running, and it's installed. So now I'm going to go over the Dockge UI. So on the home page, you'll see active, exited, and inactive. This just gives you a status of what the stacks are doing over here. You can go into Speedtest Tracker stack right here. Then you can see more options like actions up here. So edit, restart, update the current tags that are on. Like this one right here, if the developer pushes a update to this tag, then you can press the update button and it'll update it and pull it off the registry. Stop and inactive, and then delete the stack completely. You can come down here and see the containers in the stack. You can click on the ports right here to get to the UI. You can go into bash in the container right here. You can go into SH as well. You can go back to the stack, and you can see a log down here. It's great for debugging. You can also see a read-only version of the Docker Compose over here. Now, if you wanted to edit this Docker Compose, like you do in like Portainer, you would just go up here to the edit button, click it. Then you would see a editor right here, so you can edit the Docker Compose, and it'll also reflect over here in the UI and vice versa. So you can also add another service underneath the services like this. You just type the service name in here and then add container. Now over in the editor right here, you'll see services, and then down in the bottom right here, you'll see Nginx, which was just added. If you want to remove that service that you just added, you can just click the delete button. You can also edit the service and add an image in there and things like that. So now you can just delete it. You can add URLs. You can set environment variables, networks, internal and external. You can also have actions up here, so you can deploy your changes, save your changes, stop and inactive, and discard your changes. I'm going to discard my changes right now. So that's a little bit about the Dockge UI. So now I'm going to go to the UI. So HTTPS and then the IP of your Dockge and then 8443. I'm not going to go into it from the UI right here of clicking these ports because it doesn't support a self-signed certificate. So now I'm going to go to it. So now you're going to have to say advanced and proceed to accept the self-signed certificate. So now I'm going to sign in. So now the default email is admin@example.com. And then the password is password. So there you go. And I'm going to sign in. So now we're signed in. So you can see your dashboard right here, the latest download, the latest upload, the latest ping. And you can queue a speed test right here. You can also see a public a dashboard and go back to the home screen that we signed in with. So now I'm going to go back to the dashboard. So now you can see your results. Once you have some, you can export them. You can see the users. So you can go in here to the edit and you can change your password. I would recommend doing that. And you can see roles over here. So user and admin. You can go see general settings. So site name, the time zone, the speed test settings down here, the schedule of the cron job. And then InfluxDB, you can enable that if you like. You can see notifications, so you can have database notifications, mail notifications, or Telegram, or a webhook. You can see thresholds, so you can enable or disable. So you can just queue up a speed test, and it'll run it. It's using Ookla speed test for this. And you can also go over here and you can see a light theme, a dark theme. So you can go to a dark theme. And then for some reason, when that happens, when you go to the dark, you have to refresh the page to get this to come back up. And then you can go back to light, or you can use the system theme. So now we got our latest test in. So the download, the upload, and the ping. You can see a graph down here, and then you can see the ping and the jitter. So that's a little bit about the Speed Test Trackers UI. So I just went over a start to finish on getting LinuxServer Speedtest Tracker running on Dockge. So if you like this tutorial, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel. And if you have any video suggestions or you need community support, you can go to the Big Bear community and join our forum. There's a link in the YouTube description. So stay tuned for more.